Whether you want to make this for a traveler's notebook or just to doodle and keep thoughts, this princess notebook is such a fun project. Hello friends, May Flaum here, and we are diving right into the ScanNCut SDX 230Di with all of the built-in Disney patterns. And today we're working with the princess patterns. So some of these patterns, like this one that you see here, there's a whole series of them, and they're really great patterns because it shows the princess in some form, but it's also a single color, single cut, very easy pattern to work with. It works great big or small. And in this case, I'm going to be picking out multiple princesses. And I will tell you, I have several designs in mind and several thoughts in mind. And when this happens, and I'm not really sure which materials I wish to work with, what I like to do is go ahead and pick all the patterns, cut all the patterns, and make my decisions once I can physically see it, because I know whatever is left over, I will definitely use. So as you see, to make this, I am sizing down the designs to be a particular size. It's just a little smaller than 2 inches wide. And then you see me moving them away from each other because I know I'm going to have different colors. That also means I know I don't want them right next to each other for ease of cutting. And I'm going to repeat this with however many patterns, however many different designs I would like to have be featured. Now, again, we're just sizing down. I know the height needs to be just under 2 inches. The width can be a little wider, or at 2 inches is fine too. So I've got these, and you can see I keep separating them out. And then I'm also preparing my materials. I am working with different pieces of vinyl. This is essentially, it is craft or sticker vinyl. So these are vinyl pieces that are used and transferred just with a sticker, not with heat like other vinyls are. And once I have everything and I've set kind of what colors I want, now I'm going in, and some of these I'm going to create 2 of them because I want 2 different materials. Some of them, maybe I'll add more of them because I'm not sure which princess I want to use, but there's lots of things I can do here on the ScanNCut to help me visualize, but also give me a moment to process my project concept. I am going to scan in my mat, which is a huge part of this. As you can see, I can see exactly where all those little pieces of material are, and I can move my princesses around so that there is one on each piece so that I know that they all fit and they will all cut beautifully. Then when we go to select cut, we're also going to want to make sure half cut is turned on, which it is. You can see it right there. You can go in here and turn that on or off. You always want this on for vinyl because you'll cut the vinyl, not the backing, and it'll make your life a whole lot easier. Now here we have our vinyl pieces all cut. We're going to peel these off and then weed them. And that just means that we are going to be removing all of the pieces of vinyl that we do not want to transfer. That's the way that I describe this. We don't want to transfer this vinyl, therefore it gets removed. And it's pretty simple for these designs, but a little pick tool like the one you see here that is available for purchase separately from Brother, that can be really helpful with the smaller bits. You're just going to go in there and gently, slowly, carefully work out all the pieces that you don't want, that should not be there. And this process takes a few minutes. You'll want to be nice and patient and be in a good mood for it, but it's really worth it. And you can see all of our princesses here. And like I said before, these are essentially stickers. So I have lots of uses for little 2-inch stickers. I just need to pick which of these do I feel like is going to be the best match for this particular project. As again, it's a notebook, and this is a narrow notebook. It's only about 3.5, maybe 4 inches wide, but then it's quite tall. It's about 8 inches tall. So I'm picking different cardstock pieces that will coordinate with the vinyl pieces that I have selected. And I'm also going to cut a white base for the front of my journal. Your ScanNCut DX has a lot of basic shapes, and these are underrated. These are very useful for a lot of different reasons. In this case, as you can see, I pushed that little blue button with the arrows. That means that I can independently change the height and change the width. So I can make it higher or longer or wider or whatever I want to do without changing both dimensions. And this is especially useful on the basic shapes because you're not going to be distorting anything. You're just changing something possibly from a square to a rectangle. Now this I'm going to cut out of white cardstock, and I'm going to turn off half cut because we are cutting through paper. We definitely don't want our paper halfway cut. And that will only take a moment. Then we have this. So this was cut to be just a little bit, maybe 1/4 of an inch smaller than my notebook. Now we're going to go in and do it again, this time smaller, this time 3 of them. And this is going to be what we place our princess vinyl pieces on. And as you can see, again, I have that little blue arrows button pressed, which means I can change the height and change the width independently. Once I have the size that I'm looking for, and you can go as fast or as slow as you would like, I'm going to want 3 of these because these are going to be the bases, as I mentioned before. And then with these selected, I will just move them away from each other because they're going to be different colors of paper. So I know I'm not going to have them cut right up against each other. And then I will want to go ahead and scan. Once again, as you can see, the mat scanned in, and I just skipped the scanning part, although I got to tell you, it goes pretty quickly. Again, this machine is allowing me to scan and get the most out of my materials. Now, what I note is I've got enough that maybe some little stars or hearts or something, little ones, would be great here. So what I'm going to do is just make a small heart, pick a couple. I can always add more, and I'll show you where here. See, we can move these around. We can also go into the edit screen and select more of them if we want more. We can resize them if we'd like to resize them right there in the edit screen. Once we are satisfied with everything though, you guessed it, we're going to cut, and no half cut, full cut everything out of these pieces of cardstock, and we will be ready to assemble our project. So to start with assembling, everything is pretty pale, so I want to pull in some ink. This could be any ink, it could be a marker pen. You could also skip this step, but I'm gonna pull in some ink and just rub the edges of each piece of paper with one color of ink. And this is just going to add a little bit of dimension, a little bit of contrast. And you can do this very simply. You could also get a foam tool and blend ink to make a lot more of a statement. It just really depends on your style and also your project. Once I am happy with this, I will be gluing these, just some double-sided tape, onto my white paper, and I'm really going to assemble a lot here before I attach this entire thing to the journal. Now, to transfer our princesses, I'm using transfer material. That's the clear material you see there. The reason is, as you can see, transfer material will perfectly transfer that vinyl from its backing sheet to whatever you are putting it on. And it then, when you peel it off, it will not stick. And if it does, you just rub a little more. It will transfer it perfectly, so you don't have to worry about placing all the little bits and pieces just so, or getting things tangled up. Everything is super easy. You repeat that for your other princesses, and then it's time to decorate. In my case, I'm pulling out some of those hearts that I cut. I like to cut basic shapes out of any spare material, because then when I'm working on other projects, I have some of that spare sitting around that I can create with, and that is always a good thing. I'm also going to add a little liquid adhesive and add, you can add whatever you would like, sequins, buttons, rhinestones, if you want little jewels and things. I always think of those things when we're talking about princesses, so it seemed appropriate here to add a few little buttons and things. And a little bit of glitter glue can be fun as well. Glitter glue will just add a little sparkle, a little dimension with none of the mess of glitter. And you can find that at the craft store. There's lots of different brands and styles and colors as well. If you have any other embellishing or things you would like to add, this would be the time to do it. And once you are satisfied, you'd want to let this set aside and dry. Then you'll want to adhere this onto your journal. Now you can do it like I'm doing it, where I'm putting the tape on the journal, or you could tape the white paper. That's personal preference. I just decided I wanted to put the tape on the journal this particular time, and then of course press it down. And any final touches, that's up to you. I'm going to add a bit of ribbon. These are some art fibers that I've got that I thought would be really pretty on here. Tie a little knot. Lots of fun to be had, and this could work for so many different reasons, whether you want a little notebook to take on the road on travels or document your daily adventures, use as an art journal. It's always fun to customize and decorate the notebooks and things that we use, and this one is a personal favorite. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and we will see you next time. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos.